Hey punters, I just thought I'd get the camera out and put together a quick mid-carnival video. Now that we've got Caulfield and Moonee Valley out of the way, and I'm sure everyone's really looking forward to what's going to be a great week at Flemington coming up. So one of the main reasons why I really wanted to do something this week was just to touch on how exciting some of the betting was there at Moonee Valley on both Friday and Saturday. It was there was a couple of examples there of the big teams going to war. It was exciting to witness and be part of, even albeit a very small part. But it was just some very exciting betting, and of course, in the mainstream media, all the attention is on Winks and the Cox Plate, which is fair enough. That makes sense. That's what the general public are interested in. But us hardy types that are big fans of wagering, there was some fringe races there where the betting was well worth having a chat about. So first of all, the first thing I should touch on is just how the track played. So those that expected the run-on horses and the swooping run-out wider to do better, they need a situation where the inside two lanes are compromised, and that hasn't been the case at Moonee Valley for quite some time. There were the two meetings back in July, I think it was, where the track was very shifty. But apart from that, over the past 2 seasons, once the roots take hold there, the track's very even across, which just means if the right horses get on pace, they're going to be able to dominate the race. So I thought the track played really well. It's to start off with on Friday night, the first 2 races, the horses in lanes 3, 4 and 5 actually dominated the finishes of both those first 2 races. So it looked, if you just judged it on those first 2 races, people were thinking that the inside was off, which just was a case of the right horses didn't get those positions, and it gave the run-on horses a good opportunity. And throughout the 2 days, there were examples of horses using those wider lanes to reasonable effect. And, I had it over the 2 days as horses in that won races that didn't occupy lanes 1 and 2 and did make ground out wide included Propel, Brave Smash, Natoya, Tomasa, Beauty, Mystic Journey, Winks, Stars of Cream. So, it's a bit hard to say that the track was biased. It was just a case of where the right horses got, really. And I think full credit needs to go to the staff at Moonee Valley. Preparing a track for 18 races is an extremely difficult task. Now, like I said, it started off, the first couple of races, the wider lanes actually were, advantaged, or well, not advantaged, but that's where the horses that dominated the finish of those races were. And then as more and more horses go over that track, when it's in such good order and it's not being damaged, what tends to happen is as the horses go over it, they compact that ground on the inside. So I think those inside lanes become a little bit better as the 2 meetings progressed because of the compaction and the fact that they weren't actually chopping the ground out. So from my point of view, I thought the track played extremely well, and full credit to Marty, Tony and Sam and all the team there at Moonee Valley. And now we look forward to Flemington, where I'm sure Liam and his team will do an outstanding job. I've already talked to Liam. He couldn't be happier with how things are shaping up. He's got to manage, some tricky weather leading into Saturday with quite a hot day forecast on Thursday. I'm sure he'll keep the water up to keep the balance right, and I reckon I'm pretty sure we'll end up with a perfect track there on Saturday. And then, depending how things unfold over the 4 days with 500 horses going over the track, it will take it one day at a time. So the races I really wanted to talk about from a betting point of view at Moonee Valley were, first of all, the Mystic Journey race, where you had one of the big teams, I would just hazard a guess, say it was Dr. Nick, opposing that horse, and probably at least 2 of the other syndicates strongly in that horse's corner. And they went to absolute war. So who knows what happened with the corporates and the totes and everything else, but just on Betfair alone, there was 1.2 million traded on that race, and 800,000 of it was on that horse. as the price got shorter, more and more money kept getting loaded on the lay side by one of the syndicates, and they found very willing customers, and it was exciting trading to watch as it just kept pouring on both sides, and the trade was astronomical for one horse to have 3/4 of the trade when it was, you know, a 2-to-1 chance or a 9-to-4 chance was just, you know, exciting stuff to watch. Now, from my point of view, I did that race on Thursday, I think it was, and it was a really interesting race to do because I just want to have a big shout out to our man DK, who 2 shows ago we talked about the Caulfield meeting where Mystic Journey beat Crone and Anjana and others, and she was the horse that DK highlighted out of that meeting that, you know, he tagged as the one that he thought was the most impressive, and really liked the way she got through the line after having a busy run. And it certainly, anytime DK mentions things like that, I always listen because he has got a superb eye. And, you know, that horse was right on my radar. And I wasn't sure if she was going to the 1,000 guineas or where she was, but credit to the trainer for targeting that Moonee Valley race and foregoing the bigger prize. And so as soon as I saw her in that race, I was really interested. And when I just sort of did my first cut of ratings, I thought she had a clear margin on the field. But the issue you had to assess was that she was over a month between runs, going up in distance. And you had to satisfy yourself, well, you had to judge whether that was an issue or not. And I'm guessing that one of the teams had an issue with that and were really keen to lay her. And some of the other teams thought, well, she's got enough on them to overcome it. And like when I looked at it myself, I looked at her history, and it just felt to me like the trainer had deliberately done it, and it was going to need a good training effort. And well done to Adam Trinder for pulling it off. And I was willing to certainly give her the benefit of the doubt, and I marked her a clear favourite. When I looked at the price on Friday, which was $4.60 and above, I thought the price, I really can't see how the price can get much better here. So I was certainly happy to bet on Friday, and then I got most of my bet away through various sources on Friday afternoon, and then just had a little bit of a top up on Saturday when the big trade was going on with the big teams. But she did start, I think, 320 on Betfair. So you know, there's a case where you've got to do your own prices and come up with your own assessed position, but it's also worth thinking through what the other players in the market are going to do, and let that dictate your decision as to whether you want to take that price then, or sum and split it over the course of the market, or how you want to approach it. And to me, the situations when I get that right, because I'm always taking those type of chances, are the ones I find the most rewarding. You know, anyone that's watches a lot of racing and bets a lot is going to find winners, but the real art to it is catching them at the right price. And I always feel best when I've caught one at the right price, even if they don't win. So now, just counter to that point, just to, you know, talk it through. On Sunday, I'd done a race, and I marked out defying 6-4 off a very big win in Sydney on what was put out as a heavy 8 track, but it's sort of the horse and its stablemate, Cesar, ran far too good a time for a heavy track. So to me, it was probably one of those middling tracks where it was rain affected, but not heavy. And anyway, it was coming to the Sale Cup, and I sort of looked at that market after I'd done mine and thought, well, the Fastnet Tempest will have fans. I'm not sure about the Ken Keys horse, Alpacem. So I'm sort of inclined to take the early price, which was a mistake. I took between $3.20 and $3 for a lot of my bet, and it actually started $3.80, and that was just not good work on my part. I should have thought through that better, and the fact that the horse was coming off a heavy track was really going to lead some of the teams opposing that horse, and in hindsight, 380 was always going to be about the mark that was bet, and I erred there. And even though I've backed the winner, it's not one that I feel particularly good about because I clearly took the wrong price. So it can go both ways, and it's always a challenge, and that's really what the art of punting is all about, is finding the right horses and then backing them at the right prices. Then back to Moonee Valley, the other race where the big teams went to war in a different way was in the Cliff's Edge Siege of Quebec race, where one of the teams really liked Cliff's Edge, or a couple of the teams, and one of the others really liked Siege of Quebec. And so in this case, they weren't clashing on one horse, they were just, there was, I'd imagine they probably backed, but they both backed both horses, but had a bigger result. You know, it was weighted one way or the other depending on which horse they like. And again, there was some very exciting betting in that race. And in the end, both horses just kept getting shorter to the exclusion of pretty much all other runners. And in the end, Cliff's Edge was too good for Siege of Quebec. You could argue the toss about the riding and everything else, but I sort of think you could run that race quite a few times, and Cliff's Edge would get the verdict. He's just a more reliable horse at this stage of his preparation and career than Siege of Quebec is, who's still, he's not as hardened as Cliff's Edge is, I suppose. Yeah, anyway, punters, they're all the things I really wanted to go through. I had some, so the carnival so far for myself and my subscribers, we started off really well. Caulfield Guineas Day, struggled Caulfield Cup Day, had a tough day there, and then we bounced back really strongly at Moonee Valley over the 2 days. Had good results on Brave Smash and Mystic Journey, and even found Shoko there at big odds, which was that was good because that's a horse that I had made a blue with going back a few months ago at Sandown. So it's always good when you've made an error with a horse to get a good handle on them and then get a result out of them in the right race. So that was good, and so we go into Flemington right on the front foot, really looking forward to it. And I wish everyone all the best, and I hope everyone backs a few winners and has a really great carnival at Flemington. Cheers, punters. And before I go, I just thought I need to have a little swig out of my Betfair bottle there. Good on you, Scoot. Cheers, mate.